there?
I'm sorry.
Roll call, no Bob. Okay. No pencil, okay. No Barbara. Carol Zabrowski.
Yeah,
I'm here.
both of us.
Ann?
Here.
You have to go alphabetically. Janet?
Here.
Carol? Marissa?
Which one, me?
Joyce?
Here.
Eleanor?
Here.
Don?
Yes, here, I think.
Julie?
Yes, here.
And Lisa.
Here.
Okay.
Okay. Were there any changes to the January minutes? Has everyone had a chance to review them?
March.
March
16th.
Oh, I'm in January. That tells you. Sorry about that.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
You get your agenda there for this?
No, she's got the right one.
Yeah.
She got the right one. This is March.
I don't hear anything.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay. And we'll move on to.
Oh, we gotta make a motion. Somebody
That
needs
would
to
be a
make a
good
motion.
idea. Will someone make a motion
Make a
to
motion
accept
to
the
accept the
minutes?
minutes, March minutes?
I do. Someone
And
second
the
it?
second,
Janet.
Janet?
Yeah. Okay, the minutes are approved. So then we will, All in
Eleanor
favor?
needs to abstain because she wasn't here then. Okay, got it.
okay, we all set? Okay, then we'll go forward with the report from the
Okay.
director.
So this is financials through the month of, for March, which is the 9th month of the calendar year. So that means there's only 25% left to do to close the fiscal year. So basically, as I say every month, you look in the far right column on percent remaining, and you should look for something at least 25% or greater. And if there isn't, there's usually an explanation, okay? All right, so we start with wages. Again, clerk's position has remained unfilled, so that budget is all left intact. The transportation, which are the shuttle drivers, and half of the activity coordinators position, we have basically 46.6% remaining. Okay, and that's largely not because Rachel hasn't been doing her hours, it's the shuttle drivers. Again, we're trying to build demand, but we lost many patrons who ride the vans. We publicized that we have the service. We picked up a few new riders, but we're also trying to inject some new things to keep the shuttle drivers busy. So in April, on Good Friday, I don't know if it was that it was Good Friday or other reasons, we instituted a day of shopping for 3 or 4 hours. It was to go to Atkins. It was going to be limited to 3 riders in the shuttle with masks. We asked for a $5 fee, as other senior centers do. We got no takers. Okay, so we learned from that. Next month we're scheduling to Randall's. We will see if that makes a difference, and it's not going to be on Good Friday, obviously. We still left the fee at $5. I think before we abandon it, we'll find out do people want. It's for people who don't have transportation. Obviously, people with cars can go to Atkins or Randall's wherever they want, whenever they want. So
You're pretty sure it's a $5 that,
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's true with anything that we try to introduce here and other senior centers too. You try a new activity. We tried a magic show. Now, it was originally supposed to be in January, but we were closed. Maybe in the winter, close to the start of the new year, we would have had great receptivity for a magic show. We rebooked it for this Friday, the 22nd. We publicized it well over a month in advance. We got 3 people signed up. We're not going to spend that kind of money for 3 people. So we had the option a week out to speak with the magician in this case, or an instructor, and say, we'd love to, but we didn't get a good turnout for interest. So like anything, whether it's trying to do an afternoon of shopping for people without wheels, I know in other communities it works pretty well. I mean, when I look at the Wilbraham Senior Center and I look at their newsletter, they have 3 days in the month. Well, one trip will be to Randall's and Ocean State Job Lot in the same day. Another will be to Aldi's. Another one was to like Target. So some communities are deeper, more established. Maybe they have more people.
Is there also a fee?
There's a fee.
There's a fee there also?
Yeah.
Right.
So, you figure out what's going to work,
Probably not
but we're trying, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why that line item is running well under what we've budgeted, okay? Senior lunch program, they're about 31% remaining. That would be the other half of Rachel's job, because she does nutrition and she does activity. And then outreach is pretty much spot on, with 24% remaining. And that's in part the replenishment from our Title III grant monies, which we bill for every month. We get paid pretty well on schedule, okay? For town accounts, we had no expenditures in March for office supplies. We had no expenditures for postage. We haven't had any postage expenses in this fiscal year against the town account for postage. We take it out of our formula grant monies, where one of our categories is postage. You see that below. Okay. Repair and maintenance of vehicles, we had $517 expended in March. That was 3 or 4 gas fill-ups for the 2 vans, and we had a repair at Marcotte Ford's commercial truck division on the white van. We were having issues with the lift. It was just getting stuck. So we sent it to them, and they tried to make it get stuck, and of course the lift didn't want to get stuck. But what they noticed was, they noticed that it was slow on the lift, with even 2 techs standing on it, 2 big guys, to mimic like a wheelchair and a client. And so what they did was they put a new battery in, okay, and it lifts much better. So it may be that there wasn't enough juice to draw it, but I'm not convinced we may not see an issue down the road. My preference would have been to get over to Palmer to, it's called Yankee Fire and Rescue, and they do servicing of ambulance and shuttles. But I made about a half a dozen calls and kept leaving voicemails. It's a small operation. I got their name from Hume Transportation in Belchertown, which runs accessibility van services. And I said, who do you use? They said, well, we have our own mechanic, but we're so backed up, we would suggest you go to Palmer, to Yankee Fire Rescue. So I may try and find out if they're actually still taking clients, because they're not answering their calls.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But that's what, we had a $422 visit to Marcotte Ford commercial truck. So we've taken it out, and we didn't have the issue. But that doesn't mean it won't crop up. It might be a belt or a pulley. And what Marcotte honestly did was they said, look, we don't want to just throw parts at this for you, because it could be time intensive, it may supply chain, and it may be expensive, and then you don't have the van. No, we don't use it that often, but our luck, it would be in the shop when somebody really needed it. And it's hard to tell them. You got to go to PBTA and see if you can book the type of transit vehicle that you need. So that's what that was. And there were no other expenditures in March for office equipment, miles, meals, meetings, dues, or printing. Donation accounts, we took in $238 for the under 65 fuel fund, no expenditures there. We took in $100 for general gift. We had an outlay of $725 for expenses from general gift, and that is comprised of 2 yoga classes for $160. We had a small social at the beginning of the month on Tuesdays. That was some pastry for that. That was $17. And the big expense is $548 was for, I purchased gifts for the volunteer appreciation dinner in advance, because they needed some printing done on them. That will be May the 19th. You've all received your invitation because you're volunteering your time by being part of this board. It'll be with our other types of volunteers, whether they're teaching an exercise class or they're helping with our lunchroom and things like that, okay? Senior lunch fund, $54.95 expended, was basically just for waters to keep the room hydrated for lunches and gallon jugs to keep the large-scale coffee maker going when we have larger events until we get potable water back. The food pantry fund, $44.53, was for food items for the freezer and some for the dry goods shelves where we're not getting it from donations. So I need to do a shop probably today for the pantry because we're out of certain things that people like, chicken, pork chops, stuff like that. We did take in $300 of donations to that food pantry fund. So largely in that second to last column on the right, where it comes to donation accounts, we typically have more money than we started with. Okay. Formula grant. Now, I italicized all those starting balances in the column second to the left, because when we started doing these meetings, it takes a while for the state to replenish our formula grant. I understand from the chatter, I haven't heard from upstairs, but I have been asking occasionally, have we gotten our funds yet? Because back in February, I signed up on the paper, and I know 2 or 3 weeks ago, South Hadley, Belchertown, Wilbraham, all got their money. So my hunch is when we have this talk next month, I can confirm to you. But this would be the allocation we would use, and for this presentation purposes, this is where the year-to-date expenditures will be withdrawn from. So the activity of expenditure is half of Rachel's activity wages, okay? That formula grant has always paid half of that portion of her job. And the $136.82 newsletter printing, that is where we bill our monthly lease for the Ricoh printer copier. We do all the inserts for the newsletter. That is our largest use of that equipment, okay? Office supplies, $29.34. I bought some new characters for the sign on the inside of our entryway because we're going to change our hours a little bit, and we couldn't find the letter set from Lord knows how long ago, so that was about $15. And then I bought a velvet barrier cording. It's, if any of you have seen it, it's as you walk into our food pantry area. Diane Morgan does some of her confidential outreach meetings in there, but there's no door. And the reason she does it in there is her office is too small, particularly during COVID, to have been in there one-on-one. There's a barrier, a nice plexi barrier, but people kept walking through. So it's like going to the movie theater, except we don't have popcorn, and it's a red velvet cord with 2 hooks, and I made a sign that says, please come back another time or enter to the other doorway of the top. So I bought that. It is a low-cost fix to create a traffic barrier without asking for a door to be installed. There's one thing I do want to note that's not on your page. I kept thinking, why is postage? Why have we not spent on postage? Because I know we did somewhere in this fiscal year. And back on October the 28th, we did send a check to the U.S. Postal Service for our permit so that we could keep doing newsletter mailings. And I did expense it on a warrant down below in formula grants. So technically, on mine, I've written $600. It's not a March expenditure, but it's basically a zero out the account. So there's no more formula grant money for postage till the end of the fiscal year. But we have more postage money up in the town accounts, which hasn't been touched. The $800 hasn't been touched. So I will probably need to replenish in the next month, because we're taking care of a couple more newsletters this fiscal year. And I think when we spend $600 with the post office, it pays for roughly 5 to 6 monthly mailings to our 700 plus mailing list, okay? So that's it. So all in all, again, we're in good stead. You know, we have ample funds. Okay? Are there any questions on this part before we go over to the?
No.
Go ahead.
Have you ever thought about going to, what's the Mass Food Bank for any of this stuff, the food pantry fund and the lunch fund?
Well, so When, the answer is no, I haven't. We can't shop up there. We have money, so I have the liberty to shop. But, that being said, every month when we do the brown bag, which was yesterday, and next week, the Tuesday after, we do this produce van. All of those contents come from the Food Bank of Western Massachusetts. And they send us so much stuff. The produce van, not so much. What comes, typically, the van leaves empty. And that's because it's not just serving Granby, anyone can come. And it's an honor system that you basically feel you have need. And word gets around. The people who yesterday were at the South Hadley Council on Aging at the produce van will probably be here next week at the Granby Produce Van Day. You know, it's how they run their program. That's their right to call it that way. But when we get brown bag, I think we're a small center. They always send us extra cases of a lot of things, okay?
We
So
ran out of
always-
stuff yesterday.
What?
We ran out of 3 things yesterday.
So it's funny how,
Usually we never run out.
but we had excess of other things.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you would hope you would never run out of something. You hope maybe you're just exhausted. But you're left, typically we're left with too many canned goods or non-fat instant dry milk or mashed potatoes. So as a result, we are sending the van over to Lorraine's Kitchen today because they cook 5-6 days a week. They can use it. We have no room.
Yeah.
So I first go through our shelves, I restock, and whatever's left. And then typically we still have to go out. And that's what we have that food pantry fund for, is that not everyone wants to buy you coffee, not everyone wants to buy laundry detergent for you. They kind of buy maybe what jumps into their cart. Every month in the newsletter we say what we could use. And sometimes we get lots of donations that don't match anything on that list. But we'll take them as long as they're not expired, okay? So, okay, yeah. And, you know, at Thanksgiving time, when we did the turkey baskets, Judy DeLong at Granby to Go said, "Are you all set? What do you still need?" I said, "Well, I went and shopped and filled in, but I'm still shy on stuff." And it was like 2 days before, she made a trip up to the food bank in Hatfield. And what an embarrassment of riches. I mean, I maybe needed, half a case of stuffing, and I had 4 more cases in the office that will be good for this coming. So they do allow certain institutions to go up and draw off depending on the program and the need. Okay, so for March sort of service metrics, the free bread that gets delivered to people who have no access, 23, down from 3 the month before. Again, that's more a function, less so of who's home, the answer is the phone, of what we're getting from Stop and Shop in Belchertown, and that's been an issue. We did find out that Belchertown goes to Stop and Shop's bakery 5 days a week. It would be 6 if we didn't go on one of those days, and they rest on Sunday. So they go Saturday, they go Monday, they stay away on Tuesday, but by then the damage is done, there's not much for us. So I did reach out, but I was told, I asked if they'd be willing to abstain a little bit, and the answer is no. It has something to do with the fact that they prepare their lunches, and all those cupcakes and cookies are vital ingredients.
Is this Belchertown Senior Center?
Yes. And they're closer to it, but, the stores try. I did, shortly after coming here, reach out to the Big Y. I spoke to the Holyoke Stop and Shop. I think you need to go in person. Actually, I did go to in person after I spoke to our local Big Y. I didn't go in person to the Holyoke Stop Shop to see if we could get on the pecking order there. Because I'm sure.
Chicopee Stop and Shop.
Oh, all the way down? I guess we could. So there is the Chicopee COA, and I don't know how much they take, but if they're not taking much, then maybe we'd get a little bit more, because Dawn has been it's very lopsided. We're not getting what we used to. So, a lot of it is I'd say the bread is the most important thing to people. The cupcakes and the cookies, you know, we really should be watching, right?
Yeah.
So, the pantry for the seniors, 5 clients, 6 bags, that was down. 3 clients, 4 bags, who knows? Pantry under 65, 3 clients, 5 bags, that was up 2 clients, and up 3 bags. Brown bag, 31 were taken, that's 1 less than we made. Someone was away on vacation. Grocery delivery, 2 people asked for help, no change. Transportation, we had 8 for medical, that was down 1. We had 35 for non-medical trips, that was up 13. Okay.
So that's
It
increasing.
is increasing, yeah.
That's good.
Support services, outreach and shine. We had 20 clients, that was down 12 from the month before. That says people have issues and send up an SOS and come for help. We did in March work with the assessor's office to get a list of seniors and vets, because we work with the Veteran Service Agent, who had been reached by mail for their property tax abatement consideration, and they had yet to reply, and the deadline of April 1 was approaching. So I got that list from Michelle Simpson, and we made a battery of calls, and we booked about 7 appointments, got them in, got them processed. We sent the veterans over to Jeff Rule, and he made contacts there. So we don't want to see people who need help leave money on the table, because it's either too complicated for them or they're forgetful and it's lost in a pile of papers. Okay. Medical equipment, 6 clients, 14 pieces were loaned out. That was 1 more client than the month before and 9 more pieces than the month before. I don't want to brag about that one because that means people have great needs. Somebody returned 3 pieces and they said, thank you. I said, I hope you don't have to borrow it for a very long time. So, wellness calls, 37, down 16. Phone calls, 109, up 11. So it's just 2 of us. It's kind of a seesaw thing, okay? And we had 1 call for the lockbox or street sign through the SALT program. Okay? So that's March.
Okay, we have new business, it's that time here.
Yeah, and I know I probably didn't write anything when I got the agenda off the day I got back from being away for a week, but some things have come to me. Even just FYI, you guys, there's a volunteer appreciation today. I have to have a head count in by early May. It can only go up, it can't go down.
Yeah.
So we'd love to have you join us. You help us here a lot in many ways. So canceled events. So the magic show is canceled on the 22nd, and that just leads to a little bit of what I alluded to in the beginning, which is we can only try. And we try not to enter anything that we can't back out of with reasonable notice, especially if we're spending for the instructor or the performer, okay? But, you know,
Don't stop trying.
I'm not going to stop trying. You got to hit the
gotta
right
get
thing.
Our people moving and
Yes.
out of, you know, and maybe some of us will strike them.
And maybe when the weather's nicer, so what
Yeah.
we're hoping for the volunteer appreciation dinner, weather permitting, I'm going to put in a request. The cocktail hour and the live jazz trio is going to be out under a tent, 2 tents, okay? And this way, I think by May with COVID, I'm still mindful, but we'll be 50 some odd people in this room sitting down for dinner. Whether the weather's rainy or not, I'm going to still have some windows open now from the top, as Dawn told me I can do, because I want to be mindful. We'll be in here a while, okay? But I thought it might be really nice if the weather's good to at least have the cock hors d'oeuvres outside with the live music. If need be, it can be in here. We can have the trio down here. They won't be loud. And we'll set up, you know, like a buffet for hors d'oeuvres, and then they sit down dinner, okay? Newsletter assembly is next Wednesday, the 27th, at 11:15. We have yoga in the morning, but right after that, we're going to do it, okay? Now, the last thing is about newsletter ads.
Remind me.
I will.
Sorry, what was the date
It's in
you
my
said
book.
on that one?
The 27th. So the people who publish our newsletter
Never know.
is LPI, Liturgical Press Incorporated. They do all the church bulletins, so it really matters when you submit your senior center newsletter, because if you hit it wrong, you get put at the bottom of the stack because the church bulletins for Sundays have to get done soon. So that explains why sometimes you can get them back in 3 days, and some days it takes 7, okay? So anyway, they reached out to me by email, and I think they did to South Hadley as well. And maybe some other senior centers, because South Hadley spoke to me about the same request. We're looking for guidance, but we were approached that starting in the June newsletter, there are a couple of businesses, one in Northampton and one in East Hampton, that would like to run an ad in their senior center newsletter, and they are cannabis shops. And so I went to Chris with it by email, and I said, I don't know what the protocol here is, the policies of what types of businesses we are comfortable having run in the newsletter. Is this something the Board of Health needs to weigh in on? And he said, no to the Board of Health, and he says there are no guidelines. So, to me,
Yeah.
I'm on the fence, okay? My inclination is no, but if someone can convince me, I think I would need to know a little bit more that these are not necessarily recreational shops, they're medicinal. And yet, I don't want to get seniors on a path that's at a logjam with their traditional Western physicians who don't tend to think about CBD products and the benefits of medical marijuana, pain relief. So I have to give her an answer in a couple of weeks so that they can get their agreements signed with future advertising that would start running in June. So it's before our next meeting that I have to make a decision, so you're welcome to just email me or call me or come and see me about your opinions on this. But quite frankly, I'm not at a point of making a decision one way or the other. Okay? You know, I mean, it'd be the same issue if a bar approached me and wanted to run an ad. It seems acceptable that funeral homes run ads. We don't luckily have any in ours, but all the other senior centers do have 1 or 2 funeral homes. But you can get those in your church bulletins if you go to church. So that's the other thing I'm wrestling with, and I will have to get back to her within 2 weeks. I've known people on both sides of it. I know people who use recreational marijuana to get the CBD benefits of pain. Their doctors would never suggest it to them. I know people who supposedly avail themselves of it, and I don't think it's for anything medical, and it's one of my concerns. So, anyway.
I figured they would need an ad for it if they wanted it anyway.
That's right, that's right. I mean, the ad could sort of spur somebody's curiosity and interest, but they wouldn't, what would they do? Go on the website or call the store? They got to talk to their doctor or their nurse practitioner or something. So I just don't know at this point.
Well, I don't want to say too soon, but if you're not comfortable with it, just don't do it. That's all. Just don't go there. That's my vote.
Yeah, okay.
That's my
I
vote.
appreciate
Hey,
that feedback.
you know, don't wrestle with it. If you can't decide,
Yeah.
just don't do it.
Yeah.
That's all.
There's idea of doing
Yeah.
something, I don't think a lot of seniors will appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't want to,
You know, they're gonna get the wrong
All right.
picture here.
Yeah.
You know,
Then I'm
those
gonna
seniors that
come in and
use it.
tie down.
I do.
I do.
That's the other thing.
It's up
Some
to you.
seniors do use it.
But
Yeah.
we're having a tie down.
The baby
She
will
should
win.
have said April. They
No,
said,
no,
"What's
absolutely
going on here?"
She's not sure, just.
Yeah, oh, we won't do that as a shopping trip.
I can't
No
stand the smell
CBD
of it.
gummies. Not
You just
on our
don't
table.
want to go in.
last time.
Oh,
The,
the building, All-Star, All Power of Soul.
It's gonna be,
No,
oh, I was saying, that's a big space. I wonder what'll go in there, an
They're gonna
exercise
blow their
shop
own,
or?
He likes to start trouble.
Going across.
You're a wise guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's it for
fine.
new business?
No, I'm,
Did you
I'm
get
just,
it? No, I didn't know if it's that.
it's fun.
Did you, just as a follow-up,
Yeah.
did you happen to check on senior self-defense?
Yes, we did. Thank you for bringing that up. And Chief O'Grady got our request, and he is talking with the person on their staff who designs those programs, and we have not heard back yet. But thank you. I will do a touch base to say, how's it going? Rachel's been CC'd on all these because it will be something we have to schedule, senior self-defense.
Okay. And did you get many, or any Walk Massachusetts Challenge?
I think, Ann,
did. I'm
did
so
you-
sorry.
Did you register for the Walk Massachusetts Challenge? Were you able to do that on your phone?
Oh, no, I haven't done
Yeah.
that. Are we, even if I register, is this Council on Aging going to get any benefit from that?
Yes, you would.
Oh,
You would.
cool.
But we
Okay.
haven't had an outpouring of receptivity. So next to that in the newsletter is another one. Are you interested in helping me, just an informal walking group? And we've had nothing on that.
Right, because I wasn't going to register for it if our Council on Aging was not going to benefit from
No.
it, because I'd
You
rather
can.
do it if we benefit.
Yeah, we would
I
benefit.
signed
Okay.
up Bob and myself, so.
So that's maybe 3.
Yeah.
And there may be people who get our newsletter who we don't see, who may be registering at this very minute, but I doubt it.
We don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
You have FSB award?
Oh, I did? Oh, yeah. So we were chosen again through the generosity of Florence Savings Bank. Thank you, Julie's institution and colleagues. I don't know the amount. The awards ceremony, sadly, is the same afternoon as our volunteer appreciation dinner.
Oh.
So I will RSVP that we have something that keeps us from it, but we'll communicate with them after the fact. We'll thank them in the newsletter, and maybe have a photo op or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
So
it
we
is.
got-
We like to hear that. Any help is appreciated. Okay. That's all you
That's
had
it.
on your agenda?
That's all I got.
All right. So the next board meeting will be Wednesday, May 18th at 9:30. But also a reminder about the newsletter, putting the newsletter together, is Wednesday, the 27th at 11:15.
Of April. Next April.
April.
Next Wednesday.
11:15.
11:15.
11:15, yes. 4:27.
4:27.
You like confusing me.
I didn't get it.
No,
27.
Say it again, please.
April 27th,
At-
Wednesday,
At
at
11:15.
11:15. Compile the newsletter. The more the merrier.
How
because
long
then,
does it take?
Oh, it's under 2
Depends how many
hours.
people we have.
We do the labels.
We have a lot of people, it goes nice and smooth,
Right,
and
yeah.
we don't, well, we're here for a while.
The more the merrier,
Yeah.
because then it takes less time compiling it,
Yeah,
right?
Don't forget,
Well,
remind me, so I can remind you.
I'm gonna call her.
anyways, so we've got the date for the next board meeting, and hopefully we can get some people also for the newsletter assembly. Can I hear a motion? Is there anything else? No? Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Towards your,
Accepted?
and second?
I'll second.
Amen.
And we need to vote?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.